Yeah. I go back to the know thyself. I can admire Musk. I can respect what he does. I also know it's the price he pays for his success is a price that I think is too high for me, meaning I'm not going to be that rough on the people around me. I've been married more than almost 40 years, and, I care about this balance of work and life and other things. Musk doesn't care about that. So I know that each of us has to decide how do we do the balances that make us feel the most comfortable. And I watch Elon and can admire his intensity, but also know the downsides of it. And then in a more complex way, which is what the book is about, understand how the downsides, and you said this at the very beginning of the show, the downsides and bad traits are so interwoven with the good traits that you can't disentangle the fabric.
The algorithm you write about in the book, this 5-step approach that Elon takes towards sort of product development, when I read about it, it kind of just seems like more of the same Elon, which is like this sense of urgency, speeding things up and caring a lot about the small stuff. Is that your characterization of the algorithm? And what is the algorithm?
Well, the algorithm goes back to what you called first principles, which is step one of the algorithm is question every rule, question every requirement. If somebody says we need to have a felt pad between the battery and the chassis, and you say, why? And they say, well, it's a regulation or it's a rule. And you say, who made that rule? Who made that? Does it really work? Bring me the person, the name of the person who actually made it, and let me grill that person to see if there's a physics reason that has to happen. And so that's step one in the algorithm. And step two is Steve Jobs' step, which is simplify. Even on the iPod, when Steve made it, it's like, I want to be able to get to any song with only 3 clicks. I don't want a whole lot of buttons. I don't want a manual. And they eventually make the most beautiful, simple thing that becomes the iPhone after a while. Intuitive. Nobody has to read the manual for how to use an iPhone. So step two is simplify. Then you speed up the processes. And final step is automate. And the problem, Musk said, is when you try to automate processes that you should have deleted, you're not going to do it. But it's not just the algorithm, it's the algorithmic way of thinking, which is the manufacturing matters as much as the design of the product. So he puts his engineers and designers with their desks facing the assembly line. So every hour they can watch if there's a holdup, if there's something that's a piece of, strip around the headlight or wiring in the Raptor engine that's causing a holdup in the manufacturing process. The engineers and designers can see it every hour, which is why he doesn't do what most automakers now do, which is send something off and outsource all the manufacturing. He's got to watch it happen.
And he makes people write their name on the parts of the rocket that they're responsible for.
Yeah, and you gotta, it's like, who's in charge of this valve, and who's in charge of the cost of this valve, and who's going to get this valve to be cost down by 80%. And if you don't think you can do it, your name is on that mission, then step aside. We're not going to tolerate people who can't be on the mission.
A quick word on Huel.